What is up, my guys? Welcome back to the channel known as Azure. As always, I'm your most endearing host, Daniel, followed by my new co-host,
Juan.
and today we're going to be talking about the new SpongeBob movie, SpongeBob, Sponge on the Run. Juan, what'd you think of the movie?
It's a very interesting movie to stay. It kind of continues on with the show. It
Yeah, you
continues,
think so?
yeah, because it's a very interesting movie filled with controversies on when it was announced, as well as during the whole production.
Oh yeah, I understand the controversy. The main one would be why they made it, even though Steven Hillenburg, rest in peace, is dead now, and people kind of see it like, oh, they're just doing a cash grab type deal. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, at first that's what everyone thought, but once we watched the movie, it kind of does bring back the essence of like the first couple of seasons of the show, but in a new for the new generation.
Now, when you say the essence of the show, what do you mean by that? Like, because
It,
I'm a little confused.
it kind of reminds me of like of the first couple of seasons on the show, like the humor, the style. Well, not much the style, but like how the story is told.
Oh yeah, now I get it. Like how it's all like mostly just for comedy rather than have it be more slapstick and everything. Like there's actual story behind it, rather than how
Yes,
new ones are just like, oh, here's a funny moment, here, laugh at this, like
yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah, I can see that. And speaking of style, yeah, like this one is actually kind of weird. Like I thought it was 3D. Like it's 3D animated for people who haven't seen it yet, and like knowing people in North America and Canada and everyone else, like this movie hasn't come out yet on Netflix. We managed to see it on Netflix because we use a VPN, which is how you usually bypass country borders and everything like that. So we saw the UK version, and at first I thought it was three like not CG,
Stop
stop
motion.
motion. There we go. I thought it was stop motion for a second, but then you guys told me that it was actually 3D animated, and as we were watching, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see how it is. It's kind of like how they did with the Lego movie. They kind of took some frames out to make it seem like it's stop motion when it's actually not. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, because like I can kind of see where you thought it was stop motion, because like the textures and the the models for the
Mm-hmm.
characters seem like they were made by hand or like clay.
Exactly. It kind of reminded me of that whole SpongeBob Christmas special. That was actually stop motion. I forget the title of that one, but it was still a pretty good special. I still prefer the first one, the very first Christmas special, to the new one. But that's just me. Oh yeah. Speaking of which, like we got confused the first couple of takes with this title because Sponge on the Run was somewhat confusing because we kept saying sponge out of water because I don't remember any promotional stuff for this movie. Like maybe one or two things on Nickelodeon, but by the time like it actually released, I completely forgot about this movie. The fact that you brought it up caught me by surprise because I forgot this movie was made. That's kind of why I thought it was like sponge out of water, which is the second movie that came out actually back in like what 2015 maybe.
I think it was 2017.
One of those 2 years either way. But yeah, because you were having problems figuring out the name too on the second take.
Oh yeah,
You
because
were. It sounded like you were about to bang your keyboard or something like that because you kept forgetting the name.
it sounds it's because the titles are kind of similar except for like the
Hmm.
last couple of words.
Exactly, because you have the first one, SpongeBob the movie, then you have the second one, SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water, then you have this one, SpongeBob Sponge on the Run. Both of these, the subtitles start with sponge, so it's kind of hard to differentiate after you say the word sponge. So I guess that's where the confusion comes in from. Yeah, I liked also how the first movie was completely in 2D style, except for the whole David Hasselhoff segment. Then the second one had 2D, but at the last arc it had 3D animation. Then this one just went full on 3D animation. It's kind of like a good transition to how SpongeBob changed throughout the years too. Like going from this kind of like sponge silly antics to being okay, we're getting a bit more serious. So here's the superhero stuff to get show us that we're serious. And then we have this one, we're like, oh yeah, we're just back to being goofy and shit. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I kind of like it better than like the second one, because it kind of feels more like SpongeBob being SpongeBob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, because I've only watched the second one once, and I did not like it that much. Like the whole subplot with the pirate wanting the Krabby Patty formula kind of felt out of nowhere. Then the whole third act with them being superheroes, like what the hell is this? You're trying to be Marvel or something like that, and I can see why superheroes at that age were basically at their peak, and I can see why it would seem more of interesting to make SpongeBob a superhero. But that's not what made SpongeBob popular in the first place. What made it popular was that it was a kids show that was funny, and adults could laugh at it too. That's why adults would put it on for their kids to watch, so that way they could secretly watch it too. And that's what made SpongeBob good. I mean, take the episode where SpongeBob's trying to give Gary a bath. It has a fucking prison rape joke in it, and that made me laugh as a kid. But as soon as I figured out what it was now, I was laughing my ass off. Cause think about it, you don't expect that kind of humor from a freaking kids show in this day and age. Like, I don't know how they got it past the censors at that point. Like, it's just odd. Like, that whole second movie was kind of just meh. I can see why you wanted to watch this one more. Speaking of this one, we haven't even talked about this one except for the animation stuff. The whole story about this is basically Gary come home, but 90 minutes of that. Which Gary Come Home could actually be an actual movie in and of itself. It's like 3 episodes, I think. First one where Gary gets lost. Second one where Gary gets found by a crazy old cat lady. And last episode is Gary actually comes home. I think that's how it goes. Maybe just 2 episodes. Is it 2 or 3?
I think it was 2. Or maybe even 1 whole episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe like one of those hour-long specials. That's probably what it was.
Yeah, maybe. Because I only remember the one with the best day ever and the one where SpongeBob challenges a god or something to make Krabby Patties or something like that.
Oh, yeah, Neptune.
Yeah, Neptune.
Yeah. Wait, was it Neptune in this movie or was it Poseidon?
I think, no, it was Poseidon. Yeah, it was Poseidon for this one.
Ah, all right. Well, there's some continuity for you. Continuity question. Who rules the sea, Poseidon or Neptune? Because they're both gods. One of them is Roman culture, one of them is Greek mythology.
Yeah.
So there's a good debate right then and there. What mythology does SpongeBob actually follow, Roman or Greek? Either way, so back to this movie. So yeah, Gary doesn't run away in this movie. Gary actually gets stolen by Poseidon because, well, he's getting old, and I don't know how he's getting old because he's a fucking god. Gods don't age apparently, and his servant says that, yeah, gods don't age. It's all in his head, and he's like, no, I need snail oil. But the thing is, there are no snails in this universe apparently, except for Gary. Like, Gary's literally the last snail. I don't know why, but he is. So yeah, Plankton gives Gary to Poseidon because he's trying to steal the formula, like always. But Karen says, oh, the only reason you can't steal the formula is because SpongeBob keeps getting in your way. Get SpongeBob distracted and you'll be able to steal the formula. Surprisingly, that works. I don't know how, but it does. Can you explain how that works?
I mean, what Karen said kind of makes sense. If you've seen, like, the times Plankton has tried to steal the formula, it's always somehow SpongeBob who stops him. Like, an example would be the training video. Well, not really, but so basically, SpongeBob just during the training video when Plankton tried to steal the secret formula, SpongeBob just runs around and screaming, which alerts Mr. Krabs to try to do something to stop him. Another example could be in the first movie when where SpongeBob went to great length to save Mr. Krab in order to save Mr. Krabs, he goes on a quest to get his crown, and he stops Plankton's plan from taking over the world for that movie. And other episodes as well as an example.
Yeah, but most of those are just specials and where SpongeBob gets in the way. If you look at it like a singular episode in and of itself, it's usually Plankton's own fault. Like, take the whole ice skating episode, actually. The one where Plankton messes with the thermostat and turns the Krusty Krab, I don't know why I had so much trouble saying that word, Krusty Krab, into an ice skating rink. Plankton only got into the way because, well, he kept jamming people into the door and he couldn't get out. You could make the case that SpongeBob was blocking the door, but no. Plankton was just literally kept going forward, running over people, constantly building them up in front of them as Zamboni, and he couldn't get out. That was his own fault. And then take the talent show episode where he tries to take the Krabby Patty again. This time Mr. Krabs got in his way because SpongeBob was just in the back cleaning because Squidward told him to clean. So there's that. So it's mainly just specials where SpongeBob gets in the way. So that could be that's something to think about. What actually gets in Plankton's way, himself or SpongeBob? It depends on what you're looking at in terms of context. Yes. Big picture, Plankton gets in his own way. Little picture, I'm gonna say SpongeBob gets in his way. At least that's what my take. You got anything to say about that?
Oh yeah, because I mean, in most of his plans to steal the sticker formula, SpongeBob's either in the background or it's part of the con.
Mm.
And no matter what, I mean, depending on the way you see it, it's either SpongeBob who stops Plankton or Plankton messing up himself.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's why. It's either Plankton getting in his own way, or by off chance, SpongeBob actually does something to get in his way. It's never usually like unintentional or something like that. If it's unintentional, it's Plankton's own fault. If it's intentional, it's SpongeBob.
Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
it could be like the littlest thing SpongeBob does, and it messes up the whole plan.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of doesn't even have to relate to the whole plot of Plankton trying to steal the secret formula. It just happens.
Exactly. Anyways, back to the plot of the movie. So SpongeBob and Patrick go to find Gary, and they end up having like a fever dream because they're driving too long. And guess who pops up in this fever dream? Keanu Reeves. For some reason, Keanu Reeves is in this movie. I saw it in the trailer. I didn't believe it. I saw it in the movie. I still didn't believe it, but I saw him. He was there. They got Keanu Reeves in this movie somehow. I don't even know how they managed to do that, because I literally don't know. I know Keanu is a nice guy and everything, but I did not expect him to be in SpongeBob. Did you even expect him to have a bigger part as he did in this?
Honestly, when the movie was first, when the first trailer was dropped, everyone was speculating about the whole his part in the role. Everyone just assumed it was just gonna be like a cameo or something.
Mm-hmm.
But in the actual movie, he actually plays a role in like inspiring courage for SpongeBob to find Gary.
Exactly. Like, what the hell? Like, I get it. You want to have star attraction, so you get the biggest person here, Keanu Reeves. But the fact that you actually managed to get Keanu Reeves in this movie just baffles me. Then you have like one of the little antagonists like shows up for one scene. Danny Trejo, freaking fucking Machete. He's in this movie. I'm not just like, what the hell? How does SpongeBob have this much of an impact on fucking A-list stars like Danny Trejo and Keanu Reeves? And then out of nowhere, there's a music video, and guess who's in that? Snoop Dogg. How are you getting these big name celebrities in this movie? I'm just dying on the side of laughter that these people are actually in this movie, while you and Julian were actually just watching the movie and not surprised with this. So how are you not surprised at this? That's my question.
Okay, for Keanu Reeves and Snoop Dogg especially, they're like pop culture icons. So kind of no surprise they got him to show up in the movie, because if you think about it, like all the big big movies have either one of them like as either as one of the main cast or like as a cameo. Example would be for Machete would be either like the Spy Kids, like being the uncle.
Okay, that's because Robert Rodriguez directed Spy Kids, and Danny Trejo's basically in anything Robert Rodriguez directs. That's why, except for Alita Battle Angel, which I gotta do a video on soon, one of these days.
Yeah.
Oh, well, continue.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure they just got him because he's they're like, especially Keanu, he's like relevant right now, and they're trying to get as many butts on the butts into the theaters and seats to watch the movie. Either that or he likes, SpongeBob and he said yes to it.
That could be the case, but I can understand how they got Machete. I probably was like overstating a bit of how big a star Machete is, even though he is a big star, and Machete is a big star. But compared to Keanu and Snoop Dogg, he is not that big. So I can see how they got him in the movie, but they got Snoop Dogg in this movie. Fucking Snoop Dogg, this gangster from Long Beach back in the 90s. Who was on trial for murder in the 90s. They got him in this movie. How? It's just how.
I guess he likes SpongeBob or something, because I think I remember him seeing him in like another kids cartoon or a kids movie too.
Oh my goodness. Oh man, it's wow. SpongeBob's that big. He gets Keanu, Snoop Dogg, and Danny Trejo. That's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. That's awesome in a sense. This little kid's show that started in 1999 is now so popular that it gets A-list actors and A-list celebrities. Just wow. Alright, back to the movie. So yeah, all in all, it wraps up with SpongeBob getting Gary back, Poseidon revealing that he's actually all fake and he's actually all flabby and not muscular and everything, which is like not really that much of a surprise considering like how the direction this movie was going for. And everyone lives happily ever after. Now, so getting to the meat of this video as to why it was created, other than the fact that Juan wanted to watch this movie, I wanted to just talk about like some of the controversies around this movie in terms of timeline and such. Like, because throughout the movie we get flashbacks of summer camp for some reason, and SpongeBob meeting each and every one of the characters. Like, there wasn't really an establishment to how SpongeBob and Patrick met in the show, to my knowledge. Like, they just ended up being friends, so showing it this way is fine. Same thing with Squidward too. Like, they just showed him being a neighbor for some reason out of nowhere, so this summer camp episode was fine. Sandy, on the other hand, Sandy was the problem for me, and a problem for probably a lot of other people too. Like, it's stated in like the second episode of the TV show that SpongeBob met Sandy while she was fighting a killer clam, and they ended up learning karate together afterwards, and they end up going to the tree dome. SpongeBob almost dies because of dehydration, but in this one, they met in summer camp, and I'm just like, no, that's not happening. Hillenburg did not write this. He did not say this way. This is this. You can't retcon Hillenburg. This is his show. You can't do that. What about you? What do you think of that?
Yeah, it was one of the problems with the movie people had when it was being the trailer was released and it was announced about the whole continuity of the movie because it contradicted some parts of the whole show, as well as people have been speculating that Steven Hillenburg said no to this movie but made it after he died, which kind of threw fans on the loop.
Yeah, I can see how that came to be now. Like, I admit, like, probably they got through maybe halfway through production before they actually talked to Hillenburg about this movie, because this movie still seems like it was made while he was still in production. But they probably brought up the fact that they wanted to change the origins or something. He's like, no, and then he was like, okay, fine, we'll put this on hold for now. And then he died, and they were like, okay, we can take this off hold now. We can do whatever we want to it. And they just took a shit on Sandy's origin. I was like, no, because majority of SpongeBob fans know how SpongeBob met Sandy, and this is not how he met Sandy. I know it's something like a purist and everything, but no, this is what Hillenburg wanted. This is literally almost exactly what he wanted for it to stay the same of how each and every character was introduced. I could deal with the fact that they gave SpongeBob and Patrick an origin, even though they never did in this show. Same thing with SpongeBob and Squidward. I could give the fact that SpongeBob inspired Mr. Krabs to start the Krusty Krab, which is another gripe that someone brought up to me. Like, they stated that, oh, no, the show was supposed to show that Mr. Krabs is an entrepreneur, so having SpongeBob be the inspiration behind the Krusty Krab was horrible. I'm like, no. You see, entrepreneurship can be by yourself, or it could be the birth of an idea given to you by someone. So you could be just doing whatever the fuck you want, and making your own shit, but if someone says, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you go into business for yourself and do this? You're pretty good at it. Then that's an entrepreneur. Also, that's every much as an entrepreneur is as to someone having their own idea and having it go on from that. So that's my 2 cents about that. Anything you want to say about Krabs' origin?
Well, I mean, there have been episodes where it discussed how Mr. Krabs came up with the idea with the Krusty formula, as well as the whole creation of the restaurant. But this movie doesn't really contradict much of that, so it doesn't really seem as much of a big deal.
Yeah, talking about the formula though, the formula did not get touched in this movie. The origin of the formula did not get touched because if you go back to the special Krabs versus Plankton, the ultimate fight, whatever the hell that special is called, we see that Plankton and Krabs made the formula together, but Plankton accidentally made it better, but we don't know how he made it better because all the ingredients were blurred out. So flash forward to this movie, Krabs is working in a restaurant and SpongeBob gives him the idea to make the Krusty Krab himself. Now, going back to that episode, we see Krabs having a little tiny restaurant that's modeled like the Krusty Krab, but it's not the actual restaurant. It's literally just like his lunchbox or something like that on wheels. So what could be said is that there's a bit of a time gap where you see Krabs going from this little boy with the little wagon crab thing to being a pirate because he was a pirate to buying the Krusty Krab. Now, we don't know if he actually bought it just by that in itself and it was empty, or it was an actual restaurant already there and he just ended up working there. What my thinking is that he was working in the restaurant, SpongeBob came by, and then he gave Krabs the idea to branch off from that restaurant and make the Krusty Krab on his own. Because even though Krabs is all about money, he still has some worries about what to do about his choices in the matter of how to like go about his own desires and something like that. So that's what I think. Like there's a tiny gap that I found that makes this continuity make sense. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's for me.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah. All in all, there's more controversy to it, but I'm getting tired of talking about controversy right now. Honestly, if you guys want to see it, go on Netflix in the UK or something like that, like through VPN or something like that, or maybe just pirate it. I don't care. You do you. You get caught. You get caught. If you don't, good on you. Anyways, that's probably gonna be it for this video. Unless you want to add something else, Juan.
Oh yeah, well, it's only available it's available around the world except in the US, Canada, and China for some reason.
Yeah, I can see China. China's kind of a fucked up place right now, so I can see why they don't want SpongeBob to be there. So yeah.
Oh yeah, you know what I find funny about this whole movie? I like how everyone forgot about it because at first it was like a big word about the whole movie being made, but then when 2020 came around, everyone forgot about it until it's like until they released it on Netflix.
Well, I mean, yeah, the whole world went to shit. That's why.
Yeah, I remember seeing promotions in the movie theaters and some billboards, and then once the pandemic hit, everyone seemed to forget about it.
Mm-hmm. The last thing I remember was watching Sonic, and then I saw this trailer. I'm like, okay, I might watch this movie. I'm probably gonna watch it with you, because you're probably gonna take me to go. You're probably gonna say, hey, let's go see this movie. I'm like, okay, and I ended up being right. Just we didn't go see it in theaters. We saw it via Discord on Netflix.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, those are our 2 cents about SpongeBob, Sponge on the Run. Oh, I forgot. SpongeBob. I'm just gonna throw this in there. SpongeBob as a kid, his mannerisms remind me of OKKO, the TV show. I don't know if you ever saw that show, Juan.
I saw a couple clips of it in an episode.
Yeah, I don't know why, but he reminded me of OKKO. Like his whole mannerisms, in a sense. Like I just want to throw that there. It's nothing. I'm not gonna go in depth into that because I had to rewatch OKKO and I'm not about to do that because it's like over 200 episodes of a single show. I'm not about to binge watch that again because I just finished binge watching it like 3 months ago and I'm about to go back to it. Yeah, I gotta wait at least a year.
Yeah, I can kind of see it in the mannerism, in the way he talks, and how starry-eyed he is. I can kind of see it now.
Yeah, see, that's why. Yeah, maybe some animators from OKKO worked on the movie. Maybe not. Maybe they just like quote unquote got inspired by OKKO. But either way, that's gonna do it for this video. If you guys liked it, make sure to do all of the stuff you normally do. Remember to share. I know you guys might not like all this stuff, but remember to share. Some people may like this. So yeah, share. Anyways, yeah. As always, I'll leave links to Discord and Twitch and the description if you guys want to catch more of my stuff or just want to chat or anything like that. But let me know if you want Juan to come back. I know most of you guys have said, yep, he's a pretty good co-host. So yeah, let me know if you want to come back again.
Wait, really?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, cool.
People think you're a good co-host, man. Don't be surprised.
Oh, wow.
Don't be surprised. Yeah. Anyways, as always, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Adios, suckers.